Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at Avalanche, seeing what's going on, helping understand, well, what might happen next. We are in an interesting place where we're testing that 100-day SIP moving average, that previous trend line we talked about, that was supposed to be a non-reality because we were supposed to break free from this falling wedge pattern, which we did sort of, but now we keep retesting that trend line. So it's an interesting little situation. We'll talk about that. We also want to pull up some backend data here as well and just kind of see what's going on, and yeah, just get us some situations here that we could kind of work with, some data to work with, right? So let's jump into the liquidation data just really quick before we talk about anything else. We can see a lot of longs got liquidated at $19.75. That was that previous support level we talked about. We've got a new amount of heavy longs, heavier, not necessarily a massive concentration, but $18.65 would be the second closest location there. That's a monthly. Let's take a look at the weekly and kind of see what's a little more relevant here. On the weekly, within the last 7 trading days, we can see a heavy accumulation, again, about $18.85, and then a very large amount of shorts at about $20 even. Sorry, correction, $22 even. 22 and 18.85, basically just let's say 19 and 22. We're right smack dab in the middle of that, okay? So anything could happen, but the truth is we did just liquidate a lot of longs at about $20.35, roughly that $20 range, and that kind of left it open for the price to potentially run back up. Now you got to recognize it may not run back up because obviously Bitcoin is on the way down, but Bitcoin's since found its bottom in the last couple of hours at 37,000. If it stabilizes there, we could see Avalanche come back. You got to recognize a lot of this hinges on Bitcoin's success, okay? Speaking of success, congrats to our community members here. Yes, we did take a small loss there for Solana for a long, but we replaced that with a lot of shorts, Avalanche, Matic, Solana, and ETH. So again, I'd much rather take, hedge my longs with some shorts and take some profit on the way down if we can. And that's exactly what we did. Oh, wait, you know what? One last cool thing here. We finally hit our target there for Gala. Roughly a month and a half later, 190%. That was fantastic. And same thing here as well, Terra Classic, 108%, roughly 2 months. Okay, so again, you may be asking yourself, why do I want to wait that long for that kind of trade? Well, truth is, they're safe, secure trades, and they're 5 to 10x leverage tops, and we just make sure that we maximize our benefit, right? Again, low leverage keeps you in the game. Try not to get too heavy with the leverage. You've noticed, I'm sure by now, how that feels to get liquidated, especially if you use a larger balance. Do not do that. Highly recommend don't. Okay, all right, so Avalanche, 4-hour time frame. We'll talk about that in a minute. Just get a quick baseline on the daily and work our way down. First of all, we're still descending here below the trend lines, so we're kind of working ourselves into somewhat of a falling wedge pattern. A lot of times these patterns do break out to the upside, but again, we may have to bottom out one more time before we do. I'm hoping not. We'll see what happens, but generally speaking, the fair value gap that we have here, as low as about $18, is roughly an area of interest, okay? And we talked about this too, where we looked at the liquidation levels. $18, low $18 range, or maybe $18.85, right in that range rather, is a heavy concentration of longs, okay? So the price comes down to $18.85, we could see it continue to run lower. Again, low 18s is probably the lowest point we'll see, so we've got a heavy amount of volume at this level, but generally speaking, that's the consensus right now. All right, so moving averages, we're still above the 20-day SMA. We can summarize that we are still fairly bullish on this coin, okay? So truth is, we're not in bad shape at all, even though we're starting to see somewhat of a pullback. We got a heavy amount of volume, and we're definitely in pretty good shape, okay? So let's take actually a quick look at this here. You can see we got a ton of volume at about $21. That could be a tentative resistance. You got to recognize volume can work that way. So the price action could be rejecting off that level and continuing lower. So we want to probably presume the price is going to come down lower, but at this point on the daily, we can see that we're seeing mostly bullish signs minus our MACD convergence. Correction, that is a MACD divergence. The 12 intersected with a 26 in a downward fashion. That was roughly, 4 or 5 trading days ago, and ever since then the price has continued lower. Okay. Now it's not dropping super hard, but you got to recognize this shows momentum here. So until we start to plateau, we can presume the price is going to come down. Okay. Again, generally speaking, there's some good signs here being above the moving averages on the daily, but we can still recognize that some of the faster moving averages, so to speak, are letting us know the price is coming down. We take a look here, we can see lower lows and lower highs. It's pretty obvious. We're under 50 on the RSI, typically a bearish sign. Money flow index came down quite significantly here recently. While I have talked about in the past buying the money flow index dip, can be advantageous. It's not really when you're below 50 in the RSI. So the best case scenario, you got 50 hanging out here at 50 in the RSI and you got your money flow low. That's a cause for a reversal. Right now, it could just be a false positive to reject out at that resistance at about $21 for the volume that we see here. We do have a MACD, okay, this isn't a convergence by any stretch, but you can see that we're starting to, we're slowing the divergence, if you will, and we're starting to converge. We haven't officially. So this really is not a buying sign at all. It's just letting us know that we might be potentially bottoming out. Speaking of bottoming out, where are we at on TD sequential? We're at a 9. Bitcoin's at a 9. Solana's at a 9. A lot of coins are overextended to the downside right now, so a small little relief rally would make sense. Okay, just keep in mind the price action pulls back up. You can expect some resistance at $21. It's less likely the price will just surge through there unless Bitcoin comes back to 37,500, 38,000. Okay, again, a lot of little things factoring in. Please pay attention to Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin dominance. If you're not familiar with Bitcoin dominance and how that works, I have it pinned in my education section on our Discord, so you can kind of see it here. When Bitcoin dominance is up and the price of Bitcoin goes down, we typically see dumps. That's the cycle we're seeing here lately. A lot of altcoin dumping because Bitcoin dominance remains fairly high. Okay, just something to kind of be mindful of. Okay, last but not least here on the 4 hour, we've already recognized quite a few things. In fact, why don't we just summarize with the hourly and call it a day? Thanks again so much for watching. Also, please like, subscribe, and follow if you haven't already. Mainly like and comment on the video if you could. It definitely helps the YouTube algorithm. And then if we take a look here at the hourly, this is the thing I want to talk to you about. This is showing us 2 out of 3 bearish signs. In other words, we have the price action below the cloud. Big surprise there, right? So we've been below the cloud for some time. We talked about this on Saturday. Same thing as well with the conversion line being below the baseline. Tons of momentum to the downside. Right now, that momentum will come to an end eventually, but the simple answer here is that this shows us that we're mostly bearish. However, there's a consolation, of course, right here, and this is like the first indication I like to look for. Lagging span coming within the price action tells us that even though we do have momentum here, we're starting to double bottom or starting to plateau, so to speak, in the bottom. And there could be cause for reversal here. In other words, this is telling us that we should close our short position if you have one open, right? So close your short if you have one open right now. That's the consideration, right? And then if you do, hypothetically, consider along once we have confirmation back up above the cloud. Okay. So again, a confirmation would come in the price action being at about approximately $21 in the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay. What does that mean for us now? That means you go hard and you go heavy and a long. Just kidding, that's not what I'm saying. I say that sarcastically because people take that away from this video thinking that if you want to close your shorts, you instantly open a long. And that's not how trading works. You'll see some people get lucky with that. That can happen. And you've gotten lucky, I'm sure, in the past too, so have I. But luck shouldn't be a factor when trading, right? You want to trade with confirmation. We've disseminated so far that there's a lot of conflicting information, both long and short. And good traders will look for reasons not to take a trade, and I've identified a lot of reasons we shouldn't. Again, depending on where you're at, if you have a short position open, maybe consider trimming it and or closing it. If you're considering a long, I would recommend waiting. That's basically where we're at. And again, I get the argument all the time. Why wait if it's just going to go up anyways? We don't know that yet. All right, folks. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. If you are hardcore, long on this coin and you have an emotional bias, comment below. I'd love to hear from you because it's not the way it's supposed to work. I'd be happy to give you my feedback as well. So jump on over to our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, get to know our community. Make sure you check out our exclusive benefit with Bitunix. It's only available until November 30th, another 3 days. You get a free $20 just for trading futures. You have to use my link to qualify, but it's definitely a recommendation. No KYC, no VPN, US, Canada, a lot of other countries too. So fantastic benefit for our members. Unfortunately, that got hit pretty hard with the KYC this year. All right, folks, thanks again for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.